talk just for a few minutes on the subject of from struggling to straight. Look at your neighbor and repeat after me. Say, neighbor, I've struggled, but now I'm straight. You may be seated in the presence of God. Oftentimes in life, we battle with all of the obstacles and the struggles that life has to throw at us. Sometimes because of whom we are, we begin to think that we are exempt from going through in any kind of shape, form, or fashion. Oftentimes in life we think we're Cyrus because we are a part of the church. We are a part of the kingdom that life will exempt us from going through. In this, truth be told, all of us can be a living witness and a living testimony that life sometimes throws some things at us that make us at times want to give in. No matter how saved you are. Life sometimes can deal you a hand that you seem sometimes to try to find some kind of way out. In this hands you have no trumps. In this hands you have no big faces. But in the midst of it, you got to try to figure out what is really going on. Oftentimes I share with individuals that life is not promised. Stay with me out. Life is not guaranteed. But in this, we have to appreciate life for exactly what it is. And I don't know who I'm talking to in this house on this morning, but I want to share with you, man, whatever you do, don't take life for granted because it could all be over right now. So sometimes instead of thanking and praising God for the house, sometimes instead of thanking and praising God for the car, sometimes instead of thanking and praising God for the job, sometimes we need to take the time out in life just to thank God for life. Yes, sir. What would your life be if it ended on today? As I shared with you all earlier, had one of my co-workers, we had a job that was set up to start on Monday. In this, he laid out of work on Monday. My other co-worker was thinking maybe he laid out of work, 42 years of age, 21-year-old son. He was thinking maybe he laid out of work because on Friday they had an argument. So in the midst, please help him, in the midst of what was going on, I became a little aggravated because of not seeing him, knowing that we had a job that we were supposed to take care of. In this, I began to pray for him because I knew that he had some problems. Truth be told, all of us, we got problems. Right. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, you too. All of us in here, we got some kind of problems. My problems may not be your problems. Your problem may not be my problem. My issue may not be your issue. Your issue may not be my issue. But at the end of the day, we all got problems. Yes, sir. And what separates us, me and Gene, from the individuals that don't know God is simply this. When we have our problems, we are able to take our problems to the problem solver. Yeah. Anybody know him as a problem solver, God? While you trying to figure it out, God has already done worked it out. Yes, sir. So in the midst of this, I shared with my other co-worker, I said, man, something is just not right. And Tuesday morning comes about, the same thing. Individual did not show up for work, and I'm thinking to myself, so I asked my other co-worker, did you go by on Monday and check on him? And he said, yes. He said, man, I went by there, and he said, and we had another argument about him coming to work, and in the midst of this, he said, we shared some things. He said, but when I left his house, I shared with him that I will see him in the morning to pick him up for work, and he said, okay. In the midst of this Tuesday morning, still no show. He was not at work again. There was a different kind of spirit, elder, that I had on Tuesday morning. It was a spirit of help and hopelessness at the same time. Not really understanding what was going on with my co-worker. So after lunch I shared his best friend, which is another worker, I said, man, you need to leave and you need to go check to find out what is going on with him. Needless to say, around 2:30, my Vanderbilt phone, it rang, and my co-worker was crying, and the only words that I heard out of his mouth was, "Real, he's gone." And I told him, I said, "Calm down, what are you talking about? He's gone." He said, I'm in the house, he's gone. In the midst of this, oftentimes, we fail to share with people that we love them while we have breath in our body and the blood is still running warm in our veins. Not knowing that at the age of 42 years of age that my co-worker was going to be found lying dead in his home by his best friend after we have had things scheduled. But no man knoweth the day nor the hour when God is going to call our name. So what are you saying, Pastor? Do not take life for granted, because grandmama used to say back in the day that we are here today and we're gone on tomorrow, but things have changed since grandmama said that. We are now here on today and literally gone on today. So any opportunity that you get to tell the Lord thank you and thank you for life, you ought to be able to admonish how good God is. Is there anybody that want to take 30 seconds right now, because you know tonight is not promised and you know that tomorrow is not promised? Is there anybody that just want to get on your feet right now in front of your believer and tell the Lord, thank you, Lord, because it could have been me? In this oftentimes, grace in position, in this oftentimes we struggle. We struggle. Life sometimes it brings about a struggle. What's really going on? We have a man now that's in the White House who's supposed to be our leader, that is supposed to not have any kind of hatred. Is supposed to, make sure that everybody is together. In this, we're struggling. We're struggling from a standpoint of seeing an icon like Bill Cosby now been locked up. We're struggling, y'all, with in this, we have to make sure that we take time out to thank God. I thank God for the people of the 50s and the 60s and the 70s who paved the way for us of what it is to be able to stand strong and continue to believe in God even though you are struggling. My God. One of the hardest things to do, I know y'all haven't experienced this, one of the hardest things to do in life is to put a straight face on when you're struggling on the inside. Is there anybody there where you have to just keep a straight face? You have to keep a happy face. But truth be told, you're struggling right now. Your inside is so up. Your mind is not right. Your spirit is not right. But you are determined to not let the devil get the victory, because you know in God you live, you move, and you have our being. Yes. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard to look at a people that is supposed to love you and not understand why they treat you the way that they do. Somebody shout struggling. But you know what though? The reason why we as a people are not scared to struggle is simply this, because we're not a stranger to struggling. In other words, we've been there before. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm not a stranger to struggling. I know what it is to be without. I'm not a stranger to it. I know what it is to have them turned off and then wait on them to come back on. I'm not a stranger to it. I know what it is to be on the bus line in freezing cold trying to make it to work. I'm not a stranger to it. But the good part about it is the word of the Lord on today is simply this. Everybody that's been through the struggle will someday be straight. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm straight. I'm straight. I may not have everything that I think I should have, but I'm still straight. On Thanksgiving, I was able to look at the table, and I was able to eat some food, and I was able to feed myself. And I think about people that didn't have any food. People didn't have a place to call home. So y'all, we need to learn how to tell the Lord, thank you for the small things. So sometimes, y'all, we got to learn how to say that we're straight, even though we are in a struggle. Am I preaching to any straight folk in this house on this Sunday morning that could testify to the fact that if it had not been for the Lord on your side, you don't know where you would be? If that's you, just nudge your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm straight. That's your way and my way of acknowledging that even though I'm struggling, I can bring out of my spirit that I'm straight, that God has his thing. And here we are here in the text. We're dealing with Saul, y'all. We're dealing with Saul, who was once in a struggle. And you got to understand the story of Saul. Saul was one that was against God. Saul was one that was against Christ. And he was in the midst of a struggle. Saul was looking for Christians to kill instead of trying to seek and search out for God. But when God gets a hold of it, things will begin to change. He was in a struggle, but when he came into contact with Jesus, his name changed from Saul to Paul. And that was just part of the transformation. So he had to go through the struggle in order that he might become straight. First off in the text, I pulled this one thing up. When moving from struggling to straight, somebody needs to know this. That thing that you've been struggling with, it's going to become your strength. I wish I could preach it like I feel. What do you mean, Pastor? You need to say that again. Whatever it is that you've been struggling with, God says that it's going to become your strength. So you mean to tell me, Pastor, I had to go through what I went through? Yes. Sometimes in life you got to go through in order that you can get to. Not lose anybody. Sometimes you got to go through something in order that you can get to something. This was Saul had to go through the arena and the avenues of the things that he went through in order for him to have that name-changing moment. Yes. It's all a part of life. But I want you to know that this thing that you've been struggling with, your struggle is becoming your strength. In other words, this thing that you're struggling with can someday make you straight. What are you saying, Pastor? Before you can get straight, you have to experience a struggle. The struggle is that thing that's trying to hold you back, it's almost like a stronghold. Anybody ever dealt with a stronghold? I'm talking about you can't shake it. The more you shake it off, the more it comes back. The more you speak into existence and try to get away, the more it continues to come back. Listen, there are strongholds that God allows us to go through so that we might be able to recognize and realize that we can't do it by ourselves. Yes. There are some people, some things that you just can't shake off. You need the Lord. We need the Lord. Amen, church. Amen. So something has gotten a hold of us. If I can get you to concentrate on your strength, which is Christ, then things will begin to change. If I can get you to concentrate on your strength, which is Christ, then you will not have time to worry about all of these things that you have been struggling with. God did not design our lives for us to struggle. And the church says, Amen. Saul was struggling, y'all, because he had no strength. Sometimes in life, a relationship with Christ is better than any relationship that you could ever entertain. That's right. What are you saying? We see here in verse 1 through 5, this same Saul. That's why we have to be careful, y'all, of talking about people, looking at people, and talking about whom God cannot use. God can use anybody that he wants to use. Yes, sir. That's right. My personal testimony is simply this. If God can use me, he can use anybody. Because all of us have went through a time within our life when we felt like we were not usable or fit for God. Am I the only one that's been down that road? When you just felt like you wasn't nothing, you felt like you wasn't fit, you made a mistake. But if it had not been for you having some kind of contact with Jesus, you would have gave up and you would have gave in. In this scripture text, we have a man that was against Christ. He killed anything that represented Christ. In today's times, he was a Christ killer back then. In today's time, we call them haters. Yeah, we call them haters. Did you not know that there are some people out there that's trying to set you up? Some people out there that will celebrate in anything that you do, especially if it causes you to fail. He didn't like Christians. He didn't like anything concerning Christ. But then when you begin to understand that no matter how many times you fall, you need Christ in your life. Yes. I don't know what I would have done without him in my life. Is there anybody here that can be honest enough to say, you know what, Pastor, I can't make it without him. He's all I needed. It had not been for the Lord picking me up and turning me around and placing my feet on solid ground, I would not be here on this morning. In verse 4 and 5, he asked the question, Saul. Yeah, 3 minutes. Yes. He asked the question. I ain't ready yet, y'all. He said, Saul, why are you doing this to me? Have you ever been in hurt and all you could do was look at that individual that you love and ask the question, why? Why are you doing this to me? Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, sometimes things happen for a reason. Because there are some things that's liking on you that don't love you. That's right. Okay. He asked the question, Saul, why are you doing this? In other words, he said, you must like struggling. You know my favorite saying, but I always do what I've always done. I always get what I always got. But I want you to know in this place on this Sunday morning that your struggle is going to become your strength. What do you mean? How do you know that it's going to become your strength? Because you know words like I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. You know things like the race is not given to the swift nor the battle to the strong, but he that endureth to the end. You know things like I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can get to the Father but by me. Saul did not have to struggle. He didn't have to struggle. But something had to happen. Have you ever been in a situation in life and the light bulb finally comes on? Talk to me, church. Have you ever had a I finally got it moment to where it seems like everything around you has been dark? But then when the light bulb came on, you said to yourself, now I get it. Secondly, I want you to know this. Watch God on this. Your struggle, not only is your struggle your strength, but your struggle is determined by the road that you take. All right. It is right here. My God. In other words, it's not about where you're at. It's about where you're trying to go. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm taking the right road. I'm taking the right road. Well, here it is right here. Pastoring 101. Pastor, I'm tired of struggling. I'm trying to become straight. Well, in this, there are some things that we have to do as a people. When you take the right road, you got to get away from people who are not trying to go nowhere. Yes, sir. There's some people that's going to continue to stay in the struggle simply because they're not trying to go anywhere. Oftentimes we've looked at people in situations and we've asked ourselves and them the question, do you like struggling? Surrounded by people that are struck, their whole life is a struggle. I want you to know that it's not God's intention or desire for any of us in this house on this Sunday morning to continue to have to go through the struggle. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, that's not God's design for you. No, that's not God's design for you. Everything is a struggle. But is there anybody that's trying to get straight? Anybody trying to get straight? That there is something that you and I have to do in order that we might be able to get straight. Oh, yeah. First off, the light has got to come on. And when the light comes on, there's a P part. Because when the light comes on, then you have to receive direction. You can't receive your direction from Shay them. You can't receive your direction from your cousin Quita them. But when that light comes on and you finally got it, you got to make sure that you receive your directions from God. Yes. Look at this and then we're going to ride. Saul, he got his directions. First off, the light came on. The scripture text said that a light shine. And look at it this way. This light that shine, it shined for 3 days. All he was able to endure in those 3 days was hearing and seeing the light. Okay. He didn't do like us. Some of us, we can't go without something to eat for 1 day. Let alone 3 days. Oh Lord, I can't handle this fast. But Saul knew that something was different about this light. Look at your neighbor and ask your neighbor, do you have a light? And this light don't have nothing to do with anything that you're trying to drink, anything that you're trying to smoke. But this light right here has something to do with your soul salvation. This light right here can make a way out of nowhere. Saul here in the text, he seen the light, he got the light, and then things begin to change. So, I'm still in the text. Light came on. He went without for 3 days. But there were some directions given to him. Yep. In this, he sat with him. He said, Saul, why are you doing this, man? I hate to see you like this. That's what God says to us when we still tripping. Amen, church. I hate to see you like this. Let me give you some better directions. He said, hear me now. As old folks you say, hear me when I say it. He said, hear me now. He says, what I need you to do. He says, block everything else out. He says, and I need you to go down to Damascus, to a street called Straight. Listen. I want to share with you in this house on this morning. Saul was trying to do everything that he could do to get straight. But nothing happened in his life until he heard the voice of God. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, God is doing the talking and all we have to do is listen. In other words, in order to gain, you got to lose some things. We have to be prepared to take a loss in order to be able to get ahead. And even after the loss, he was still trying to hear from God. And as we get ready to close, I leave with you that if, get with me, Grace, that if you're tired of struggling in your life, there's one thing that you and I can do, and that is hear the voice of God. And if you in this place and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, I ask you this question. When was the last time that you heard from God? And if you in this place and you're sick and tired of having to rob Paul to pay Peter, God says, get on your feet and give him the highest praise. At this time, grab your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, our struggling days are about to be over. Get on your feet and give God a straight praise. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, don't worry about me because I'm straight. Don't cry for me because I'm straight. Don't feel sorry shall be given. If I seek, then I shall find. If I knock, the doors shall be open. Excuse me, y'all. He done found my key. But I share with you that even though I go through things, I look at the devil and tell him I'm straight. Get on your feet and look up towards heaven and shout with the loudest voice. I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm straight. I may not be feeling my best, but I want the enemy to know that I'm straight. My finances may not be where they ought to be. Look to the left and I owe somebody. Look to the right and I owe somebody. Look in front of me and I owe somebody. But I want the enemy to know, even though my finances may be tripping, I'm straight. Open up your mouth and give the Lord and I'm straight praise. Go around and have 5 people and say with the loudest voice, I'm straight. I'm straight. Shout yeah. I'm straight. Shout yeah. I'm straight. Somebody says, Pastor, how do you know that you're straight? Because God said it, and that's settled it. Tell your neighbor, God said it, and that's settled it. In other words, I ain't got no worries. I ain't got no trouble, because I know that God is able. And if you believe that God is able, just hug your neighbor for the last time. Squeeze them and hug them and squeeze them, and shout together, we are straight. Ain't that alright? If God before, He's more than a world that is against us. Somebody shout, shout yeah, shout yeah, shout yeah, shout yeah. I'm straight. Listen, I'm straight. Struggling, but straight. I don't know who else for in this place on this morning. Thank you, Cyrus. I don't know who that was for in this house on this morning. Everybody stand to your feet.